Live from New Delhi, you're watching the India News Hour, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 1 hour. Israel accuses Iran of firing missile armed with cluster bombs, vows to retaliate. Trump faced US involvement in conflict to make decision within 2 weeks. Amid escalating West Asia tensions, European powers to hold nuclear talks with Iran in Geneva to press for a diplomatic solution over Tehran's nuclear program. Russia and Ukraine exchange another batch of prisoners under an agreement struck in Istanbul. Moscow rejects Ukrainian calls for an unconditional ceasefire at the talks. Erick makes a landfall as Category 3 hurricane, the strongest to hit Mexico so early in the year, brings life-threatening flooding and mudslides, leaves a trail of damage. And it's baptism with fire for Shubman Gill as he starts captaincy of the Indian cricket team in England. First test starts in Leeds today as India seeks to find form without Virat and Rohit. Another day of attacks, counter-attacks and bombarding continued between Iran and Israel. Week-old conflict seems to be escalating with each passing day, with no sign yet of an exit strategy from either side. Israel attacked Iranian Special Forces headquarters of the internal security apparatus in Tehran and bombed nuclear targets. Israeli military strikes hit Iran's Kondab heavy water research reactor, a project under construction that had not begun operating, and damaged the nearby plant that makes heavy water. Earlier, Israel said it had struck Iran's Natanz and Isfahan nuclear sites. It also targeted the partially built Erick heavy water research reactor, also known as Kondab, in central Iran. Well, it was in response to Iran firing missiles and drones at Israel. It accused Iran of deliberately targeting civilians in the hospital attack by using a missile that scattered smaller bombs over a wider area. It was the first reported use of cluster munitions in the 7-day-old conflict. One of the small munitions struck a home in the central Israeli town, causing some damage. Cluster bombs are controversial because they indiscriminately scatter submunitions, some of which can fail to explode and kill or injure long after a conflict ends. Iranian strikes also damaged the Soroka Medical Center in Israel's southern city of Beersheba. Well, amid the conflict, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Thursday that the change or fall of the Iranian regime was not a goal of Israel's military campaign, but could occur as a result.
Our primary objective is to stop the nuclear program and remove it as a threat. The second goal is to halt the advancement of ballistic capabilities, also to remove it as a threat. In the process, it's clear the regime is destabilizing. We are also hitting government-related targets and centers of power. But the matter of regime change is, first and foremost, up to the Iranian people. There is no shortcut to that. Therefore, I have not set it as an official or declared goal. It may be a result, but it is not an explicit objective of our operation.
US President Donald Trump has kept the world guessing on his plans, veering from proposing a swift diplomatic solution to suggesting the US might join the fighting on Israel's side, but that may take 2 weeks to decide. Citing a message from Donald Trump, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt informed the reporters about Trump's plan.
In light of that news, I have a message directly from the President, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks."
She also said that Trump was interested in pursuing a diplomatic solution with Iran, but his top priority was ensuring that Iran could not obtain a nuclear weapon. She said US officials remained convinced that Iran had never been closer to obtaining a nuclear weapon.
Let's be very clear. Iran has all that it needs to achieve a nuclear weapon. All they need is a decision from the supreme leader to do that. And it would take a couple of weeks to complete the production of that weapon, which would of course pose an existential threat, not just to Israel, but to the United States and to the entire world. And that is something that the entire world, including countries like Russia, is in agreement with, that Iran should not and cannot obtain a nuclear weapon.
Foreign ministers of Britain, France and Germany, known as the E3, will meet with the European Union's top diplomat Kaja Kallas at Germany's permanent mission in Geneva. France, Germany, Britain and the European Union were all signatories of the 2015 nuclear agreement with Iran that Trump sunk during his first term in the office. The European Union's Kallas, in coordination with European countries, has insisted that diplomacy remains the best path towards ensuring that Iran does not develop a nuclear bomb. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi would also join these talks on his country's nuclear program with the counterparts. And to get you the latest on the ongoing Iran-Israel conflict, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Akshay Dongre. Akshay, the European leaders are pushing for Iran's return to negotiations, and on the other hand, Trump has also added a timeline, keeping others guessing. But is this in any way leading to any sort of de-escalation hints at the current moment?
Well, from the US side, yes, but as far as the overall conflict is concerned, then no, because US, we had come to a point where the world was expecting an imminent attack, an operation involvement by the US forces. There were reports coming in that several tankers, aerial refueling tankers of the US Air Force are moving towards the West Asian region. So that was a key point of concern because, the moment US gets into it, it becomes blown to another level altogether. Then you can expect Russia to also, in a bit, indirectly support Iran. Other countries getting in this entire conflict when leading to a much wider conflict in the West Asian region that would have destabilized it, to a point of no return. So as far as de-escalation between Israel and Iran are concerned, there is no sign yet. There is no conversation, no dialogue that's taking place as far as the two adversaries are concerned. They are exchanging now missiles at each other. We have seen Iran has used its own intermediate range ballistic missile, Sejil, that has about a range of 2,000 to 2,500 kilometers, has a payload capacity of about 5,000 to 1,000 kilograms, which means that the kind of weapons now that are being used are not only small drones or small missiles, they are now IRBMs, and it can also escalate to ICBMs, that are intercontinental ballistic missiles, which means that these missiles being used, these missiles can also carry nuclear warhead. They can carry conventional warhead as well. But usage of these missiles and striking these missiles on enemy target means that you can also use these for nuclear retaliation if you have the capability. So that can further escalate the crisis. So. As of now, no de-escalation, hints coming in from Israel or Iran. But when it comes to the US, the US president has said that he requires or that he will take about 2 weeks to make a decision. Now, that is much better than the kind of hurry that we were seeing from the US leadership, where where US tone was also quite aggressive when it comes to Iranian nuclear program. But it seems that better sense has prevailed, especially in the White House. And, the entire conflict and getting into the conflict has been pushed to about 2 weeks from now. But we'll remain, we'll keep on watching the developments to ensure that, no sudden change comes to the decision of the US president. Because from what we have seen during his first term or the term so far, of Donald Trump, is that decisions can be changed at any point of time, like the one has changed right now. It can also go into a reversal. So that remains a key concern.
And as you said, that US is also trying to bring Iran on the table for negotiations. But at the same time, Akshay, offensives from both the sides continue to happen, and evacuation processes are also on by various other countries. What is the latest that you can tell us on evacuation so far?
Well, when it comes to India, we have evacuated successfully about 110 students through the Armenian border. The other evacuation program, plan that has been planned for future is from Turkmenistan border. So for India, evacuations are on, but other countries are also evacuating their citizens. Some are evacuating them from the Armenian border, some from Azerbaijani border, some from Turkish border as well. So wherever people can, get their people to leave from and safely evacuate from, they are trying to do that. But it remains a very, very critical task because the situation is not normal on the ground. So, but evacuations are happening. But they were happening at a much faster pace 2 to 3 days back because the situation seemed to be going towards the direction of an imminent all-out war, which would have been destructive for the people. But now, as slightly de-escalation is happening and most of the attacks are targeted at military targets, many of the people are moving towards other parts of the country, but not leaving the country altogether. So evacuation have been slowed down slightly, but if there are the threats rise, then people can be evacuated sooner and at a much faster pace, especially when it comes to countries like India that have history of evacuating people not only of their country but other countries as well from these kind of conflict zones, because not everyone has the capacity or the capability. So that continues. Evacuations continue, but at a slightly slower pace now. But we'll keep on monitoring the situation to see, and the government is also doing that to ensure that if the need arises, these evacuations can be fast tracked. Back to you, Deepika.
All right, thank you so much, Akshay, for joining us and bringing us the latest on the Iran-Israel ongoing conflict. Now, UN nuclear watchdog chief Rafael Grossi on Thursday identified Isfahan, home to one of Iran's biggest nuclear facilities, as the location of a uranium enrichment plant. The IAEA has previously reported that Israeli military strikes on Friday damaged 4 buildings at Isfahan, including the uranium conversion facility that transforms yellow cake uranium into uranium hexafluoride feedstock for centrifuges so that it can be enriched. IAEA said that it had gone online. The new enrichment plant would have been the 4th in operation in Iran. But Israel's attacks on Iranian nuclear facilities destroyed one of those plants and put another out of action by killing its power supply. Earlier, Iran announced it had built a new uranium enrichment facility, which it would soon equip and bring online. The announcement was part of its retaliation against a resolution passed by the International Atomic Energy Agency's 35-nation Board of Governors declaring Tehran in breach of its non-proliferation obligations over issues including its failure to credibly explain uranium traces found at undeclared sites. Now, the head of Russia's Nuclear Energy Corporation has warned that an Israeli attack on Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant could exceed all known nuclear accidents in the history of mankind. Bushehr is Iran's only operating nuclear power plant and was built by Russia.
There are no hits anywhere in the area of the station, and especially not to the site itself. And we very much hope that the Israeli leadership will maintain a sober, balanced position in this regard, because any strike on an operating gigawatt-class facility and the capacity of the first block of the operating Bushehr reactor is 1,000 megawatts is a catastrophe comparable to, or perhaps even surpassing, all known nuclear accidents in the history of mankind.
Meanwhile, Australia suspended operations at its embassy in Tehran, citing a deteriorating security environment. The Australian government has directed the departure of all Australian officials and dependents. Consular staff are being deployed to neighbouring Azerbaijan, including its border crossings, to support Australians departing Iran. Australia's ambassador to Iran would remain in the region to support the government's response. More than 1,500 Australians and their families in Iran have sought assistance to leave the country. In another act of violence, a grenade was thrown at the residence of the Norwegian ambassador to Israel on Thursday evening in Tel Aviv. No casualty was reported due to the incident. Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar spoke to the Norwegian ambassador to Israel and condemned the attack. In Oslo, the Norwegian Foreign Ministry said an explosion occurred at the residence. Israeli police said in a statement light property damage was sustained and that it had opened an investigation. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Canada set to introduce new tariff measures to counter global overcapacity and unfair trade. US President Donald Trump had given social media platform TikTok another 90 days. And London faces hottest day of 2025 as scorching temperatures continue to soar.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you.
That's exactly what save your country.
You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DDN.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Well, Canada is set to introduce new tariff measures to counter global overcapacity and unfair trade in steel and aluminium, Prime Minister Mark Carney announced on Thursday. Now, this follows US President Donald Trump's decision to double the tariffs on imported steel and aluminium to 50%, a move that could significantly impact Canada, the largest exporter of these metals to the US. Now, calling the US move destabilizing, Carney said Canada will impose tariff rate quotas equal to 2024 import levels on steel from countries without free trade agreements, aiming to protect its domestic market. He also revealed plans to adjust existing counter tariffs on the US metal products starting the 21st of July. Carney and Trump have agreed to finalize a new economic and security agreement within 30 days.
Canada will adjust its existing counter tariffs on U.S. steel and aluminum products on the 21st of July, at the end of that 30-day period, in other words. We're going to adjust them to levels consistent with the progress that's made at that point on the broader trading arrangements with the United States. Secondly, we will implement reciprocal procurement rules, ensuring that only Canadian producers and producers from trading partners that provide Canada with tariff-free reciprocal access through trade agreements can compete for federal government procurement of steel and aluminum.
Well, Ukraine and Russia exchanged prisoners of war on Thursday. Officials from both the countries said the latest round of swaps under an agreement struck in Istanbul. During the talks, the first direct negotiations between the sides in 3 years, both the countries agreed to free more than 1,000 prisoners of war from each of the side, all wounded, ill, or under the age of 25. Russia's defense ministry confirmed the exchange, posting pictures of soldiers draped in Russian flags, cheering and waving. Zelensky posted similar photos of freed Ukrainian soldiers, crying, smiling, and calling the loved ones after being swapped. In Istanbul, Moscow and Kyiv also reached a deal to repatriate more than 6,000 dead Ukrainian soldiers, with several stages of handover carried out in recent weeks. While Moscow has rejected Ukrainian calls for an unconditional ceasefire at the talks, demanding instead that Kyiv cede more territory and renounce Western military supports as a precondition for peace. Well, Denmark will continue supporting Ukraine's preparations for European Union membership despite Hungary blocking negotiations. The Nordic country's European Affairs Minister said Denmark would do everything it can to help Ukraine continue with necessary reform work. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has firmly opposed supplying NATO military support and European Union aid to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukraine has already begun the required reforms and is prepared to accelerate the negotiation process. Additionally, Denmark will also seek to reach an agreement among the European Union nations on the bloc's planned 2040 climate goals.
Og så handler sikkerhed også om udvidelse med nye medlemslande. Fordi vi har brug for et mere stabilt Europa og et Europa med en stærkere geopolitisk vægt. Og derfor vil vi prioritere fremskridt på forhandlingerne med særligt Ukraine, som kæmper for vores frihed. Men vi vil også prioritere forhandlingerne med Moldova og de andre kandidatlande på Vestbalkan.
US President Donald Trump had given social media platform TikTok another 90 days to find a non-Chinese buyer or be banned in the United States. Trump on Thursday announced on his platform, Truth Social, that a deal for the sale of TikTok in the US by ByteDance must now be reached by 17th of September. Responding to the deadline extension, short video app TikTok said in a statement, and I quote, that we are grateful for President Trump's leadership and support in ensuring that TikTok continues to be available, unquote. Now, this marks the third such extension by the president since taking the office. Staying in the US, a federal appeals court is reviewing the role of courts in overseeing President Trump's authority to deploy troops to Los Angeles during the protests. Meanwhile, California National Guard members remain on the duty. Trump's decision to send troops into Los Angeles prompted a national debate about the use of the military on US soil and inflamed political tensions in a city in the midst of protest and turmoil over the president's immigration raids. The Los Angeles Dodgers barred federal immigration agents from the team's stadium parking lot. The administration argues that the law gives the president sole discretion to determine whether a rebellion or danger of a rebellion requires a military response, and that neither the courts nor a state governor can second-guess that determination. A Kenyan court sentenced two men to 30 years in prison on Thursday for assisting the 2019 Al-Shabaab attack in Nairobi that killed 21 people. Hussein Mohammed Abdile and Mohammed Abdi Ali were convicted in May on charges of facilitation and conspiracy to commit an act of terrorism for helping the Al-Qaeda-affiliated terrorist group Al-Shabaab. Abdile and Abdi have 14 days to appeal their sentences. Delivering her ruling, Judge Diana stated that the attack might not have occurred without the two men's involvement. They had pleaded not guilty. In January 2019's attack, gunmen stormed Nairobi's Tustin complex, leading to a 12-hour siege. The Kenyan government later announced all the attackers were killed. Now, the Mexican authorities announced the discovery of a secret tunnel linking the Mexico and the US amid US pressure to combat cross-border drug trafficking, especially fentanyl. The Secretariat of Security and Citizen Protection said the tunnel was 13.5 meters deep and approximately 600 meters long, connecting San Diego from the border city of Tijuana. Inside the site, there was also a package containing methamphetamine and various items for transporting objects. Mexican cartels have long used narco tunnels to smuggle drugs, migrants and goods, with some featuring advanced systems like ventilation, lighting and fax. Meanwhile, the authorities also discovered a clandestine mini refinery in the eastern state of Veracruz. Along with 500,000 barrels of crude oil, they suspect was stolen from the country's pipelines. On social media platform X, Security Minister Omar Garcia stated that officials uncovered an unauthorized facility manufacturing diesel, solvents and fuel oils without permits, endangering the environment. The government is cracking down on crude oil theft and illegal imports known as yucca, a practice that generates substantial losses for state energy company Pemex and the government. Authorities linked the organized crime and Pemex employees to the illegal fuel trade and uncovered 500,000 litres of crude oil with related production equipment fueling the illicit market. Now, Hurricane Erick weakened to a tropical storm after making landfall as a major hurricane on Mexico's southern Pacific coast on Thursday, leaving a trail of damages in the southern state of Guerrero. Hurricane Erick made landfall early on Thursday morning as Category 3 near Puerto Escondido, but weakened to a tropical storm by mid-afternoon with 50 meters per hour of wind. Hurricane Erick left behind destroyed buildings and debris in Guerrero. The head of Mexico's Civil Protection Agency, Laura, said no immediate deaths were reported. Officials cautioned that Erick's intense rains remain dangerous. The U.S. National Hurricane Center warned of life-threatening flooding and mudslides. Heavy rains plunged the southernmost Brazilian state of Rio Grande do Sul into flood waters this week, bringing back memories of the 2024 fatal floods. The state civil defense issued a red alert for swelling risk at the river until Friday. Rio Grande do Sul's government informed that most of the northern and central parts of the state were in red and an orange alert after the rainy weather started on the 16th of June. In the city, the rivers rose to 22.63 meters, surpassing the 19-meter flood stage. Families near flooded areas were moved to shelters, and authorities warned that moderate to strong rains could bring up to 80 mm of rainfall daily. In 2024, intense rainfall in Rio Grande do Sul triggered floods that claimed the lives of at least 180 people. A heatwave sweeping through France sent temperatures in Paris soaring to 31 degrees Celsius on Thursday, driving the tourists to seek refuge in fountains and shaded areas. Sightseers near the city's iconic landmarks wore hats and sunglasses, doing their best to stay cool in the intense early summer heat. Meteo France, the national weather agency, has issued heatwave alert for Friday, with western regions expected to be hit the hardest. Officials are advising both the residents and the visitors to stay well hydrated and limit sun exposure during the hottest parts of the day. On the other hand, London faced a scorching Thursday as temperatures soared past 30 degrees Celsius, marking the hottest day of 2025 so far, nearly 10 degrees above the seasonal normal. The morning started calm, with the river Thames reflecting the sky like glass. But by midday, the heat intensified, reaching a high of 32 degrees Celsius, the Met Office reported. Forecasters expect the heat wave to continue through Saturday, with cooler weather returning early next week. Crowds flocked to Brighton on Thursday as rising temperatures prompted an amber heat alert from health officials. The UK Health Security Agency and the Met Office issued a warning, signalling potential health risks for the broader population. Particularly vulnerable are people over the age of 65 and those with existing medical conditions, the agency cautioned. Temperatures are forecast to climb steadily across the UK through the end of the week. We are heading for a short break, but still to come on the other side. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to be on a 3-state visit for 2 days from Friday. Launch of multiple development projects in Bihar and Odisha on the plan. After the break, we'll get you the latest on Union Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal's UK visit. And up next, we'll get you a report on how the world is gearing up for International Yoga Day 2025.
Welcome to DD India, where 1 billion voices unite, connecting viewers to the stories that matter. India is not just another news channel. It's the international channel that puts the spotlight on the global south, bringing you stories from the heart of emerging economies, dynamic cultures, and transformative voices. As the international news channel of India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati, DD India delivers high-quality content from every corner of the globe, focusing on the stories that shape our future. We don't just report news. We connect you to India's voice in the global narrative, from current affairs to culture, from economic growth to sustainable development, and the ever-evolving world order. DD India gives you a comprehensive view of the world around us. Stay connected, stay informed, and embrace the stories that shape our lives. DD India. India's voice to the world.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. It's now time to quickly recap the top headlines of the hour. Israel accuses Iran of firing missile armed with cluster bombs, vows to retaliate. Trump weighs US involvement in conflict to make decision within 2 weeks. Amid escalating West Asia tensions, European powers to hold nuclear talks with Iran in Geneva to press for a diplomatic solution over Tehran's nuclear program. Russia and Ukraine exchange another batch of prisoners under an agreement struck in Istanbul. Moscow rejects Ukrainian calls for an unconditional ceasefire at the talks. Erick makes landfall as Category 3 hurricane, the strongest to hit Mexico so early in the year, brings life-threatening flooding and mudslides, leaves a trail of damage. And it's baptism with fire for Shubman Gill as he starts captaincy for the Indian cricket team in England. First test starts in Leeds today as India seeks to find form without Kohli and Sharma. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be on a 3-state visit for 2 days from Friday, a tour that will include the launch of multiple development projects in Bihar and Odisha and his participation in a mass yoga program on the International Yoga Day from Visakhapatnam. Our next report tells you about the details of what Prime Minister Modi is going to do during his visit to the states of Bihar and Odisha on Friday, that is the 20th of June.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting the eastern Indian states of Bihar, Odisha on Friday. The Prime Minister's first stop will be Bihar, where he will lay the foundation stone and inaugurate multiple development projects in Siwan around noon. The projects are expected to give a major boost to infrastructure and socio-economic development in the region. The Prime Minister will inaugurate the new Vaishali-Deora railway line project worth over 400 crore rupees and flag off a new train service on this route. Additionally, PM Modi will also flag off the Vande Bharat Express between Patliputra and Gorakhpur via Muzaffarpur and Betia to improve connectivity in North Bihar. Furthering the vision of Make in India, Make for the World, Prime Minister will also flag off the first state-of-the-art locomotive built at Marhaura plant for export to the Republic of Guinea. As part of conservation and rejuvenation plan of River Ganga, Prime Minister will inaugurate 6 sewage treatment plants under the Namami Gange project worth over 1,800 crore rupees, catering to the needs of the people in the region. Also, in a major boost to power infrastructure in the region, PM Modi will lay the foundation stone for a 500 megawatt battery energy storage system BESS capacity in Bihar. Later, Prime Minister will visit Bhubaneswar in Odisha and chair a function marking the completion of 1 year of the BJP government in Odisha in the evening.
On June 20, this visit marks not only the first anniversary of BJP government in Odisha, but also his first trip to the state after the success of Operation Sindoor.
For Odisha's holistic development, the Prime Minister will also inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth over 18,600 crore rupees. These projects will cover critical sectors including drinking water, irrigation, agricultural infrastructure, health infrastructure, rural roads and bridges, sections of national highways, and a new railway line. The train service extending rail connectivity to both districts for the first time will be inaugurated by the Prime Minister. In a major boost to clean energy and sustainable transportation, PM Modi will flag off 100 electric buses under the Capital Region Urban Transport System, supporting a modern, eco-friendly urban mobility network. With inputs from Dheeraj Kumar in Patna and Somesh Patel in Bhubaneswar, Bureau Report, DD India.
Union Minister of Commerce and Industry, Piyush Goyal, who is on a visit to the United Kingdom, held a productive meeting with Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves. Both the leaders discussed avenues for collaboration in financial frameworks, sustainable finance, and unlocking new trade opportunities to further strengthen the India-UK economic partnership. The minister had an engaging discussion with Olivier Prill, the Chief Executive Officer of Tide, a business financial platform based in the United Kingdom. With India's massive strides in the digital world, both of them discussed the fintech ecosystem, digital empowerment and fostering SME-led growth across both the economies. Earlier, Union Minister Piyush Goyal delivered the keynote address at the IGF main stage plenary session titled From Agreement to Action, the UK-India FTA. The Union Minister reaffirmed India's commitment to transitioning the FTA from a negotiated text into a transformative economic partnership. Now, India is powering a green revolution from solar parks to organic farms, EVs to biodiversity missions. With bold climate goals and grassroots innovation, the country is redefining sustainability for a cleaner and greener tomorrow. TD India correspondent Taposh Bhattacharya gets us more in the next story. Take a look.
India, the land of a billion dreams and cradle to one of the world's richest natural heritages, is quietly scripting a green revolution. From solar parks in Gujarat to the wind farms along the Tamil Nadu's coast, India is now the fourth largest renewable energy producer globally. With the eyes set on the net zero by 2070, India's commitment is clear: cleaner air, greener growth. Under its updated climate goals, India aims to cut emission intensity by 45% and ensure 50% of its power comes from the non-fossil fuel sources by 2030.
Our Honorable Prime Minister Modi is truly a visionary when it comes to renewable energy. As soon as Modi ji took over the country's reins in 2014, one of the first things he did was he revised the National Solar Mission target from 22 gigawatt to 100 gigawatts by 2022, and a 175 gigawatt target of wind, solars, hybrids, micro hydro all combined by 2022. Today, we have reached roughly 190 gigawatts, of which we have 80 gigawatts of solar, 45 gigawatts of wind, and we are well on course to reach our 500 gigawatt target for 2030.
This isn't just about big policy, it's about grassroots change. In Sikkim, organic farming is protecting soil and water. In Maharashtra, villagers are harvesting every drop of rain, and innovative startups are turning crop waste into biofuel. Electric vehicles, hydrogen hubs, and expanding metro networks are steering urban India towards sustainability. India is embracing the circular economy, especially in tackling e-waste, choosing reuse and recycling over take, make, dispose philosophy. Conserving ecosystem is equally vital. From the Himalayas to the Sundarbans, India's biodiversity is protected through missions like Project Tiger and Project Elephant. The Green India mission is reforesting the future. Environmental sustainability is not a choice, it's a necessity. And India, powered by its people, is showing the world how ancient wisdom meets modern innovation for a greener tomorrow. With Camperson Mukesh and Manoj, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for TD India from Delhi.
And as the world gears up for the upcoming International Yoga Day, our next segment tells you about the ancient Indian practice of yoga. It is about plugging into an uninterrupted source of power by going within. And rooted in ancient India, yoga has now found a place across the globe as well. In the French capital, it's no longer just a wellness trend, but it's a powerful tool that helps people to manage the pressures of daily life. Rohini Gosavi reports.
Yoga for me has always been the way you are. It connects you to the nature. You're less stressed, you're less tired, you're more energized. Another thing about yoga which is so interesting is it shows me, it shows me with all my shortcomings.
These words from Poonam Malpani resonates with many yoga lovers in France, where yoga has become a simple, powerful tool for managing modern life. Born in ancient India as a path to self-awareness and balance, yoga has grown far beyond borders. In recent years, it has taken a root in France, with over 7 million people now practicing regularly.
Life is very hectic, especially if you live in a big city like Paris, so it's always a moment of just connection and peace.
Indian spiritual leaders and teachers brought yoga in France in 20th century. Over a period of time, veteran yoga educator like Padma Shri Kiran Vyas has played a key role in spreading authentic teachings through yoga schools and wellness centers.
French people always liked the concept of yoga, and slowly it's so well developed. But first it took the philosophical side of yoga over here, and then the practical side, that is the physical yoga, so much so that at present there are more than 10,000 teachers in Paris alone.
Yoga has truly become a universal language of well-being. For the people of France, it is no longer a distant Eastern philosophy but a personal healing practice. It becomes a bridge between cultures.
Deeply grateful to India for this beautiful tradition, and it's really an honor for me to share it here in France.
The French people are very much interested in the practice of yoga. They learn to adapt a slightly different style of living, a way of life, through understanding the philosophy behind a few mantra recitations.
The Indian Embassy in France has played an important role in promoting yoga. It organizes events, free workshops, and helps people learn about yoga's root in Indian culture. It's helping build a strong connection between India and France through the practice of yoga. As the world grows louder, yoga remains silent. A gift from the East that continues to calm minds and stretch hearts across the globe, especially here in the heart of France. This is Rohini Goswami in Paris for DD India.
Well, more and more people are turning to yoga not only to keep fit, but also for stress relief and relaxation. Yoga enthusiasts in Indonesia are welcoming the growth of studios across the country, and it's quickly becoming a big part of the wellness industry in the region. DD India correspondent Chandni Vasandani has more in this. Take a look.
This is not a new fitness trend. It's an ancient practice from India that's now become a daily ritual for many Indonesians. Yoga was once a foreign concept here, but it's now a familiar word in the wellness scene. But it wasn't always this way.
So we have to find the struggle to explain them about yoga, what is the yoga, because many people they think that yoga is about the spirituality, Hinduism spirituality, but actually it is not. It's about both. It's for the health practice, it's for the depends if one to take as a spiritual can, but we introduce yoga as a health purpose.
So what helped turn the tide? Events like the Namaste Festival and International Day of Yoga, introduced by India's Prime Minister, brought awareness and recognition. The United Nations also thought it was important to globally promote this wellness practice.
Every country's, all the embassies are conducting the program, events of yoga, and then from there, I think yoga has become more popular, more famous, and people are more conscious about the yoga. They're more curious to know and want to do yoga practice.
And for some, it's more than just physical exercise. It has become a lifeline. The benefits go far beyond flexibility.
During the course of 3 years, I feel like I just feel much better. My body is more flexible, and you are surprised. Even the stiffest muscles can also be stretched over the time. But I believe yoga also helps to relieve stress and tensions. So in yoga, we believe that you have to breathe mindfully. So it actually is a powerful tool to relieve tensions and stress and anxiety.
Yoga studios are growing in Indonesia. with more people turning to it for better health, flexibility, and stress relief. Over here, International Day of Yoga is marked with events and group sessions across the country, showing how far the practice has spread. This is Chandni Vasandani in Jakarta.
Well, yoga has grown exponentially in Brazil over the years, but now the yoga practitioners there do not see it merely as a physical exercise. They are using yoga for their mental well-being and, more importantly, as a vehicle to study Indian philosophy and culture. TD India correspondent Shobhan Saxena reports on the changing nature of yoga.
Almost every neighborhood in Sao Paulo, the biggest city in Southern Hemisphere, has a yoga school or two run by local instructors. But there's a great demand and desire to learn authentic yoga from Indian teachers of this ancient practice.
Satyendra Singh is the teacher of yoga at Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center. He also gives free and open classes at University of Sao Paulo. He has the reputation for teaching yoga the correct way, with equal emphasis on physical and mental being.
For the past 3 years, I have been teaching yoga at our culture center, and I am really impressed with the dedication of my students. I have also been giving yoga classes here at the University of Sao Paulo for the past 3 years. The interest and response of my students here is amazing. Most of my students feel that they have benefited a lot, both physically and mentally. I have also promoted yoga in the many cities across Brazil.
Last 3 years I practice yoga with Professor Satyendra. It's very special for me and other students also. And I learned about philosophy, about how to perfect alignment in the asanas. Brazilian people like yoga and practice here. I'm also a yoga teacher. And I think in the future more and more people join to practice yoga.
Swami Tattvananda Saraswati has been based in Sao Paulo for more than 35 years. He runs an ashram where he teaches yoga, Indian philosophy, and Indian culture. He has created a community of lovers of Indian culture and philosophy.
Many people they are learning yoga for fitness, for stress, and obesity. But most of people they are practicing yoga with me. They are very serious people. They want to learn very, very, very profound, very deeply about science of yoga. They are very interested in Indian philosophy. They want to know more about the Indian philosophy apart from the practice of yoga postures. The philosophy of yoga, the Vedanta, the Tantra, the Sankhya, all the philosophy of India, they are interested very much here.
My idea to come here is to understand about the yoga, but not in a sense to do physical practices, but to understand the noble science of yoga. So towards the spirituality. This is the reason that I'm here, to develop my inner side.
The practice of yoga has been popular in Brazil for decades. Brazilians are very health conscious, want to keep fit mentally as well as physically. Now yoga is growing even more with the help of Indian teachers who are also teaching them about Indian traditions, meditation, and cultural practices. This is Shobhan Saxena for DD India in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
And this year's observance, marking the 11th anniversary of the Global Yoga Celebration, casts a spotlight not just on the philosophy of yoga, but also on specific asanas or postures that seamlessly integrate into daily life, offering tangible benefits for physical and mental health. Our next report brings you more details. Take a look.
Beyond the elaborate sequences often seen in advanced yoga practices, many fundamental asanas hold immense power for elevating the everyday stresses and strains of modern living. Consider the Adho Mukha Svanasana, or downward-facing dog, that lengthens and decompresses the spine, stretches the hamstrings, and strengthens the arms. It's a full-body reset, often providing a much-needed energizing stretch after long hours of sitting. For those battling the common woes of back pain and stiffness, the gentle flow of Marjaryasan, Bittilasan, or the cat-cow stretch offers remarkable relief. This dynamic duo of poses, moving between spinal flexion and extension, warms the back and improves flexibility, easing tension that often accumulates in the spine. Mental well being is significantly bolstered by certain asanas. The deeply restorative Balasana or the child's pose serves as an immediate antidote to stress, promoting relaxation by gently releasing tension in the back, neck, and shoulders. It encourages an inward focus, helping to restore energy and calm the mind amidst daily demands. Finally, the often underestimated Shavasana or the corpse pose, typically the concluding posture in most yoga practices, is arguably one of the most vital. It's a deep relaxation pose that calms the mind, releases stress, and aids in grounding, allowing the body and mind to fully absorb the benefits of the preceding practice. As communities worldwide engage in mass yoga demonstrations, these accessible asanas serve as a reminder that profound benefits of yoga are not reserved for the agile or the experienced. They are readily available, offering practical tools for enhancing physical health, elevating stress, and fostering a sense of inner peace in the tapestry of our everyday lives. Bureau Report, DD India.
Moving on, Japan's inflation crisis deepened in the month of May as core prices surged to 3.7%, stoking political heat for Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba just weeks before critical July elections. The sharp rise exceeding market forecast has shaken the public confidence, especially with rice prices more than doubling despite emergency stockpile releases. The inflation wave is hitting households hard. From coffee to chocolate, basic food costs continue to climb. Electricity bills soared 11.3% and gas fee rose 5.4%. The crisis stems from a mosaic of causes, most notably a searing drought 2 years ago that devastated rice harvests. As public frustration grows, Ishiba is fighting back, pledging 20,000 yen in cash aid per person, double for children, in a last-minute push to regain voter trust. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi wished the President of India, Draupadi Murmu, on her birthday. In a social media platform X post, he said, and I quote him, "Warmest birthday wishes to Rashtrapati ji. Her life and leadership continue to inspire crores of people across the country. Her unwavering commitment to public service, social justice and inclusive development are a beacon of hope and strength for everyone. She has always worked to empower the poor and downtrodden. May she be blessed with a long and healthy life in service of the people." Unquote. Moving on, it's now time to get you all the latest from the world of sports, to begin with cricket first. A new era begins for Indian Test cricket as they take on England in a 5-match series starting from today at Headingley, Leeds. With Rohit and Virat stepping away from red ball duties, it's time for the next generation to take charge. Let's now take a look at how India is shaping up for this big overseas challenge.
A new summer and a new Test series is upon us. England is set to host India in a 5-test match series, which is going to start on June 20 in Leeds. India is up against England after losing the Border Gavaskar Trophy and also missing out on the WTC final spot. They lost a home series against New Zealand as well, but on the other hand, England is in a strong position. They have been dominant since 2020. Talking about India, there are new players, a new look India, with Shubman Gill as the captain and Rishabh Pant as the vice captain. Both Shubman Gill and Rishabh Pant have a responsibility on themselves, as new captain Shubman Gill has a 15-run average in England. Also, Rishabh Pant, who has a good record in England, hasn't scored a big score since the past year. Rishabh Pant has also scored more centuries in England than in India. Also talking about India's batting lineup, there is Karun Nair. Karun Nair is a player who has been waiting for cricket to give him another chance. And finally, he has been recalled to the Indian side after 8 years, performing tremendously in domestic cricket. Now it's his chance to cement himself permanently in the Indian team. Rishabh Pant, Shubman Gill and players like Karun Nair as well will be looking to cement themselves in the team, not only as players but also as beacon of future of Indian cricket. But also One thing is crucial, which is India's bowling. Tricky English conditions need pacers to fire up. And as the past tells, that India is too reliant on Jasprit Bumrah. In 9 matches he's played at England, he has taken 37 wickets. But again, as we know, being too over-reliant on him can put him under pressure and also have an injury scare. There is Mohammad Siraj, there is Prasidh Krishna, there is Shardul Thakur, there is Akashdeep Singh, there is Arshdeep Singh as well, who can swing the ball both sides. India will miss the services of veteran players like Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma and Ravichandran.
And now to get you more on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent on sports, Narayan Singh. Good morning, Narayan. No Virat, no Rohit Sharma, but Shubman Gill has a big opportunity in hand. Can he survive the pressure as the test series begin today?
Good morning, Deepika. As we know that Indian Test cricket is at the crossroad, as you mentioned, that the end of an era for Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and also our Ashwin is not there. And talking about Mohammad Shami, because of the fitness issues, he's also not the part of this series. And talking about, it's going to be a big test match, not only for India, but for Shubman Gill as a new captain. As we know that his averages around 35 in the test matches. So it remains to be seen how he performs there. We can say that he is set for a baptism with the fire in this series because handling the Indian team, captaining the Indian team, who's one of the toughest business in the world, toughest job in the world. And at the age of a very young age of the 25, he is doing this. So a big burden on his shoulders. So it remains to be seen how he works with his teammates there. And most importantly, that here the conditions in England are overcast. And we in the past saw that Indian team has crumbled under the cloudy sky in the English conditions. So here they need to fire here, they need to step up, they need to just go through the very tricky spells. We know that Test cricket is all about the sessions, and in England the clouds and the weather changes within each session. So how they play in that scenario, it remains to be seen. But most importantly here, I think, is that the England too have a very weakened bowling lineup. They have no Anderson, we have their Chris Broad is also not there. He is there as the commentator, and talking about Markwood is also injured. So, a weakened bowling lineup.
All right, thank you so much, Narayan, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on what to expect ahead of today's match between India and England. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour.